Hello, you guys. Finally, I get to show you my process. If you watched yesterday's video, I forgot to hit record and I made a whole painting and I didn't record it. So today I want to show you something a little bit more day to day that I actually use. And for me, it's like a sort of journaling. I just take a pen or a pencil and I just start moving without any plan. I usually like using two pages next to each other so I have more space. And I just start with some free form sketching. And then intuitively, I start grabbing some colors. I have wax pencils, pastels. Sometimes I like to fill in the shapes. Of course, then it just turns into something completely different. But other times I just like to create new shapes and break the rules, break the pattern. And what this does, as I said, for me, this is like a form of journaling. And it just helps me clear my mind. It just helps me, yeah, get out of my head, out of overthinking. And most of all, as I mentioned in my last video, in my journey from illustrations and to abstract work and loving abstract work. Please know this is I'm not a full-time painter or anything, but painting for me is a practice as it is movement, as it is nonlinear movement and other embodiment and somatic practices that I teach and guide my clients through to really get out of your own way because so often we just become too loyal to patterns that are not serving us anymore. And often that's perfectionism. You see, I was just starting to become too contained with the shapes. And when that happens, I just create some chaos. And yeah, just patterns, beliefs, identities that we get too comfortable with. And it becomes harder to see how much of those patterns we're playing out in our lives and how much we're getting in our own way. And listen, we're humans. I'm not saying this is wrong, you're doing it wrong, absolutely. But habits and practices like this that really helps you break out of rules, out of doing things in a certain way, out of always being perfect. You know, for us women, so much is about you have to do the things right, you have to say the things right, you have to present yourself in a certain way, just be perfect all the time. We carry so much of that conditioning. And that's why, for me, abstract sketching, abstract painting, I do have an Etsy shop, but that's just because it was during COVID and I had extra time. And I will link it below. You can find my latest work if you like to explore that. But for me, it's more of a personal practice more than it is like an income stream or a business. Who knows? Maybe one day it will become more than that. But for now, it's just something that I do first for myself. And as people started asking, do you make prints out of this or do you sell this work? I started to consider maybe I do. But it started as a way to, hey, let's just even finding my voice, you know, in writing and creating content in my own offer and offerings, the work I'm here to do, how I work with women, what I help women with, just what is it that makes me different? What are the things I went through, the things I've overcame, the challenges I've been growing through that I can help and guide someone else through. And believe it or not, something like this, a daily practice like this, well, lately I haven't been that consistent, but this is going to help me get back into the practice. But something like this, something that you do every day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that helps you get out of your head, out of your way, is just zoom out and not follow any rules, not follow any formula or anything. Just be a child, be yourself again. I used to love painting when I was little. Because this is for me, it's also an inner child healing. For me, this is healing. And it's been healing in so many ways, like finding play and expression and freedom. And oh, I love this. Look at the contrast in how I do things, like doing things my own way. Oh, yes. I always love what adds contrast. See how that pops right away? It's incredible. Yeah. And yeah, I guess even doing this and talking to you, it's it's a form of sharing. I think it helps me share from, I don't want to say more genuine place, but unedited, even more unedited that when I'm talking to you in front facing, like facing the camera. And I'm not saying I'm not doing those videos anymore because I love them. And I've been doing workshops and group classes with women since 2017. Yeah, started with yoga and women's workshops. Before that, I was training designers. I was working in Shanghai, this big, big company. There were 150 employees, something like that. And imagine being in a company that big and you are the only foreigner. It was just me, Italian amongst uh, all Chinese that couldn't speak English, that didn't speak English. And believe it or not, I loved it. I loved it. It felt so freeing and liberating. And of course, I got to learn a little bit of Chinese, but I did have, of course, a translator. I had a translator. I had a few actually. They changed quite a few of them, but they were all amazing. They could speak English. They helped me understand like more of their culture and also how to relate and how something in your language doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, not just words wise, but even concept wise. We have different ways of expressing something. Something that may sound really harsh in your language is just a joke and not that important in another culture. So it was such a beautiful experience. I lived in Shanghai almost for a decade until COVID mainly. Yeah, 8 years, 9 years. And well, how did I get to this point talking about that? Yeah, here we go. I was training designers to what they appreciated, like my boss, they hired me because of my thought process. What they appreciated, yeah, about my work and my way of doing things was how I was working from concept to idea to thinking outside of the box. Whereas what they were used to was more of a, how can I describe it? It was taking a lot of inspiration from what people were already doing, what designers were already doing, and kind of reverse engineer the process. Okay, this is what people are doing. How can I fit this into my process? How can I make this work for, yeah, for my company, for my clients? And what I was actually doing, yes, of course, my department, I was the head of the R&D, research and development department, and we were focusing on spotting new trends before they were cool, before everyone else. And that was such a juicy, delightful job because we were doing so much research. And most of all, I got to train people on how to think like creatives that already were amazing because they do such incredible things in China. You can see like awesome designs from huge buildings and how fast they build skyscrapers. It's unparalleled. Like in 2 years, you have a new skyscraper on their skyline. But yeah, just how to think outside the box and like inspiration for a building doesn't have to come from the same field. It can come from a dish, a cuisine, a tree, and just unexpected, making unexpected connections, which I think is one of the things I'm really good at, especially in one-on-one work with women, like spotting the unseen connections, those things you cannot see by yourself, or maybe you can, but it will take you a long time. I'm speaking from experience and someone who was used to do things all by myself, like do it all. And we're not meant to do it all by ourselves. We're not meant to do it all alone. Now, I'm not liking, I mean, I like the contrast, but I was looking for some black, you guys. I think this is a pencil. I think I don't have any black. Oh, yeah, there you go. We need some disruption here. We need something. Yeah. And I guess there's so many, gosh, you know what happens when I do this? And that's why I encourage you to pick a practice that you do every day. You guys can be walking outside, but you got to do it every day because it's in the repetition that you can start seeing patterns. If you do one thing once a week, twice a week, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be as effective to see a pattern. But if you do that thing, you show up in that way, you do that practice every day, that practice is going to be your mirror and it will show you. And it matters because even if you're not feeling like it, even if you're in a different mood, even if you don't have time, if you show to practice every day, I guarantee that practice is going to be your greatest teacher, your greatest teacher. And like for me, what this does, especially when I talk to myself, or either in my head or like this out loud, and to you guys, it helps me make connections. It helps your brain because you're freeing your brain from the heavy task of your brain is constantly trying to fix, solve problems and questions that you think you don't have in your head, but you do. Your brain, even if you don't ask directly, hey, how can we solve this? Even if it feels like you're not actively working on finding a solution, you can bet something that that your brain is working on that in the background. And that creates a lot of extra load. So when you can, something like this, I am doing things so fast. I'm not interested in doing something pretty at all. But often it comes out pretty. When you are doing something so fast that and I'm not saying go outside and walk as fast as you can, because nature is going to do that regulating work for you. But when for example, if you're doing free form writing, or what I call release writing, you just write without thinking about writing it correctly, about writing in perfect grammar. You just write. And you don't give time to your brain to intervene and edit and filter because your brain is gonna, okay, doesn't sound correct. Let's polish it. No, the most raw you can be in that practice, the most free, natural, spontaneous, authentic. Oof, oof, the better it's gonna be, the more revelatory it's going to be. It will teach you so much. Hmm. I don't know what kind of colors. I think I want some more of this. And you see, today I actually had no idea of what I was going to talk about. But since I got some feedback on yesterday's video, and sometimes I like to turn it around, I hope it's still framed. Check. Let me check. I like to turn it around so you can shuffle the cards, shuffle your cards and just don't get stuck because it's your brain is going to get attached and is going to want to create something that makes sense and looks good for your standards very soon. It's always looking for patterns. So the moment I realize I'm going on autopilot based on, I don't want to say my programming, but what I usually resort doing, usually default doing, that's when I need something that breaks the pattern because otherwise you're never going to find out what else can you do. What else can you explore? What else can you learn? What other aspects of your capacity, of your expression you can tap into? What else is there? What else is there? We're always talking about, I want more. I want more. I want more from my life. I want more freedom, more travels, more love, more expression, more aliveness, more money, more income, more impact. And guess what? More starts with you, starts with more of you coming alive. I'm gonna repeat that. The life you want, the more that you want, begins with more of you coming alive. And think about it, it's just math. Because right now, up until now, you've been someone. You've been comfortable sharing certain aspects of you, certain qualities of you. You talk a certain way, you have a certain posture, emotional, mental, physical. I always talk about somatic posture and our energetic posture and how it shapes everything and your posture towards life. So if you want your life to change, something in that posture needs a change. And sometimes it's no more of something, and sometimes it's more of something else. Sometimes it's removing, clearing, letting something else emerge. And other times it's okay, we need to activate something that's been dormant. Hmm. And you will be extremely surprised to realize how often it's the combination of the two, meaning that there is something that's been suppressed or hidden or shamed that we haven't tapped into that is blocking something else from emerging and blooming and part of our potential. And how often that something is hidden under layers of shame, of sadness, of grief, of fear, all those emotions that, for, for course, for sure, don't feel as good to feel. But the only way to move through something and to find momentum and to unlock what you need is to through through feeling. It's not through suppressing. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing a pattern. Like I was doing the one thing that annoys me. I was like, okay, looks like a lot of balloons floating in the air. And it's just something our brain naturally wants to do. Anytime someone looks at my abstract, especially family and friends that, like, I don't mean those who look at it online or find my work online, but like family and friends when they I show them a new work, a new piece of work, or even something like this, they look at it for a while and they look like they're thinking about something so intensely. And then they come out saying something like, oh, I see a panda. I see a mountain. I see, like, see how the brain always wants to find connections. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I wasn't painting it, trying to create a panda, an abstract panda, but everyone's going to see something different. And everyone's going to want to find their meaning, their reason, something different in that. Everyone. And I think the reason that actually the feedback I got from collectors and people around the world who had purchased and my abstracts, and talking specifically about abstracts, when they share the reason they wanted that piece is because of the feeling they wanted to, they felt something they felt by looking at it, not necessarily, oh, this looks like my home, the home I grew up in. I can see the tree I used to talk to when I was little. No, it's a feeling, makes them feel something. And that feeling they want to bring it into their homes. And usually the feedback I got is the feeling of joy, feels expressive, it feels alive. Like often, like a permission slip. Go be who you are. Ooh, I like this. I really like this. Go be who you are. You have a dream, you have a something that you want to create, that you want to do in this life. Go do it. Go get it. God, we have one life. If there's something you've been wanting to create for a while, something that tugs at you, something that's calling you, listen, listen. That's all I can say. And I think, ooh, this is more wild than usually. And I know what I want to create, but I don't think that I have the color for that. I also need to sharpen some of this, but I want some cleanup. I want some cleanup. Just, not in the term in terms of I want to make this tidy, but there's a lot of line work, and I want more areas that will like, okay, my eyes can rest here, can take a pause. What I mean? So much about so much about painting applies to life, everything. So much of what is true in this practice applies to life. And as you pick, as you pick your practice, the thing you want to do, as I'm doing this, is actually a practice for me to be talking and narrating my process as I do it. It's new. And as you pick your practice, notice how you feel afterwards. That's the most important thing, your own feedback. What was possible after that? Were you calmer? Did you have more clarity? Did you feel more enlivened, more inspired? Was it easier to go through your day and stay focused? Notice. There's no right or wrong way. It's just your feedback and what you are prioritizing right now in your season of this season of your life. That's all that matters. Think about some horizontal elements here because it feels like a lot of it is vertical. And I want to add some, yeah, like that. I'm sad that I don't have red. I think, yeah, I don't have to sharpen the sharpener here. What can we use instead? Let's see. Let's see how this is. Kind of. Hey, listen, I'm not super satisfied with this, but that's practice. Not always what I create is gonna satisfy me, but it always serves me in the most unexpected way. That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty. Yeah. And I noticed that the more I want to go in and make it more pleasing to my eyes, the more I'm perfecting it. So yeah, there you go. Mm. You guys, that's all for today's video. And if you like this kind of videos where we have this little chit chats where I go through my painting, my journaling, my processes to get out of my head and just share stories and lessons from my own life, from the work I do with women, just give it a like so I know you want more of this. And I will see you tomorrow.